Hello fellow Vault Dweller, you're just in time for the new Fallout 4 release, or rather, in time for some of you to be finally crawling out of your nuclear bunkers after marathon playing it for weeks. I thought I'd do an overview of the first installation of this award-winning series, and perhaps inspire you to grab a copy of this timeless classic. You thought that the old Fallout games were boring and archaic? Well, you couldn't be further from the truth. This is the sort of game that feels fresh, even after 15 years, sort of like surströmming. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly at all. It's the Swedish rotten shock thing. Well, anyway, this open world RPG was made by Interplay in 1997. The spirit of this game predates this though, as it initially lived in the skin of a 1988 RPG called Wasteland. The world of Fallout is set in a retrofuturistic post-apocalyptic world, where the aftermath of what seems to have been a nuclear Cold War shaped the landscape, characters, and stories they tell into the unique, intriguing blend of past and future we have grown to love and enjoy over the years. You can sneak, bludgeon, lockpick, and gamble your way through this impressive world. It's an open world, so you can decide to go and blow off some gore heads with your energy gun, or to explore the wastelands, or whatever else strikes your gun-toting fancy. When you're first thrown into this game, you're made to choose your basic skills and perks. Basic RPG fare of creating a character, albeit here you have the option of choosing a pre-made character. You can choose to be female, so it was a surprise to me when a so-called video game journalist proudly touted that Fallout 4 was the first of the series to include a female protagonist. But I digress. You are tasked with saving your vault by finding a water chip. If you fail to do so within a set time limit, your whole vault will die due to dehydration. So, right off the bat, you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. And now for the combat. Action points are the name of the game here. You have a set number of them, which depend on your base agility statistic, set in drugs and perks. Each turn you can perform some actions, such as moving, using a weapon, changing your weapons around, healing, going into your inventory. You get the picture here. Certain weapons have different ways to use them, and the combat system is quite fun and intuitive. It feels tactical and yet so organic due to the pseudo-isometric grid. Also, your enemies will recoil at being hit, and you end up feeling as if you really are clobbering a rat to death. On the downside, it does get a bit boring after you've pulverized your 100th rat, just to make your way through some sewers. It does break up the momentum of the game at times, but that's just a labor of love you'll have to contend with. If you'd like to avoid combat and play as a bit of a pacifist, you can get far with good stealth and diplomacy skills. You can play as a buffed-out barbarian, as a backstabbing pickpocketer, as a science whiz, or an expert doctor. The nuclear cloud shrouded skies your limit here. This aspect makes for a lot of replay value, as depending on which skills you choose to develop, your gameplay will vary considerably. Same goes for quests. Depending on how you interact with town dwellers, which quests you take, what decisions you make, or even whether you've put away your weapons upon entering a city, you can have wildly differing outcomes. Will you be a goody two-shoes, or will you try to be as chaotically evil as you can? You can even choose to play as a mentally retarded person, only capable of very basic speech, or perhaps no speech at all. It all lies in the intelligence points you choose. You can hire a bunch of people to aid you in your quests, including an adorable dog called Dogmeat. You might recognize his name from ensuing iterations of Fallout. Unlike in the other Fallout games, though, there's no limit on how many helpers, people you have with you though, so you can end up with quite a group of non-PCs if you'd like. The artificial intelligence is a bit funky though, so perhaps try not to give an Uzi to some of your followers. It's a bit of a trial and error, working out what they can be trusted with and what they cannot. Aside from that, the way to obtain the dog is quite entertaining actually, so I'll tell you. You can obtain it by feeding it an iguana on a stick or by wearing a leather jacket. This dog obviously has good fashion sense. If you enjoy your sci-fi or retrofuturistic stuff, you'll adore this. It has a lot of humour, a lot of intrigue, and a lot of realism. I won't get too much into it because I have an obsession with not spoiling people. but I'll spoil you by letting you know that it has an amazing story. You have a variety of locations, characters, objects and storylines to follow up on, and to suck you into the lore of Fallout. If you've ever played any other Fallout game, you'll appreciate it all the more for filling in some blanks and creating new ones. As with all great RPGs, Fallout is about the journey rather than this destination. You'll encounter mutants, dirt and paranoid shop clerks all woven together into a post-apocalyptic masterpiece of a game. The violence might not seem that impressive to us today, but with our Skyrims and God of War, but at the time it was pretty edgy. You can choose to shoot your enemy in the crotch, and with a special ability known as Bloody Mess, you can make those deaths all the more gory. The music fits perfectly with the game. The whole soundtrack was composed by Mark Morgan, and he did a pretty good job on it. Just listen to this. One last thing worth mentioning if you're planning on getting this game is the fact that versions of it vary in different countries. So, due to censorship, there are no children in the German and British version of this game. This was because the possibility of killing a child was found to be distasteful. Strangely enough, despite the slight controversy it brought at the time by being so gory and having child death, it didn't do that well in sales. Bethesda had to wait until Fallout 3 to get their piece of the money pie. But this old progenitor still deserves respect and has a cult following. Even though it wasn't appreciated that much at the time that it was released, it was the start of something great. And in many ways, due to nostalgia perhaps, it remains as the best Fallout game in many people's hearts. So, should you get this game? If you have any self-respect, then yes you should. You can go the old-fashioned route of getting a boxed edition, included with Fallout 2 and Fallout Tactics. You can get Fallout 1 for free by downloading it illegally from a variety of sources, but that's not very nice since it doesn't support the developers. My advice is to get it on GOG or Steam. I'll put some links in the description box of places where you can get Fallout 1. Thank you for listening and see you next time.